All right. In finishing this week, thought I'd give everyone a bit of an update, bit of a breakup story, John.
Ooh, you're no longer with your partner?
No, but that's not the breakup I'm talking about.
Right. What are you referring to?
I had a breakup. One of the property managers that I have.
Right.
With a couple of properties.
Do you have a disagreement?
No, it was more I don't like incompetence.
No.
And for those who have investment properties out there, this is what I want to bring up because it does flow through because I want to be the best property owner landlord that I can be for my tenants.
Yeah.
And, a couple of the properties were managed with one company and it was awesome, it was fine, good.
Yeah.
They sold that rent roll and another business took it over.
Yeah.
And it's just been sloppy for the last 12, 18 months.
Yeah, that old story.
And some examples. And because my whole thing was, if you're not on top of it with me, who's paying you, I'm your customer, how are you going to be on top of it if my tenants have issues?
Yeah.
How are you going to be on top of it if this financial asset has issues?
Yeah.
So a couple of things, like when they first kind of were doing the call around, and I said to them, I'm like, I get it. It's, it's not ideal, but I'll work with you because I'm not of the view that one thing goes wrong and I'll end a professional relationship because I get that things get busy and ball gets dropped. Like some of the best professionals in the world, there will be little mistakes that just happen and you've got to have grace. And, I think they dropped the ball 3 times with some issues, but it was more the basic communication stuff.
Right.
They called me one day after I'd been dealing with them and it was another lady. Hey, Glenn, it's so-and-so, just calling about this property. I'm the new manager. I'm like, yep, sweet. Hung up. Next minute, phone call. Oh, hey, I'm calling about this property. I'm like.
You just rang me?
Call her Debbie. I'm like, Debbie, this is the Glenn that you literally just spoke to.
Yeah.
So just from a basic one, what the hell are your systems to not say that, Glen James, we have these assets.
Yeah.
Just a bit of forward thinking and looking at the situation.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks later, had a phone call. Hey, it's so-and-so from the same agency. Just wondering, that property there at, Blue Bay or whatever, is, that, are you living in it or is it tenant? I'm like, you guys manage that property. Literally your company that you're calling me from manages that property. And so there was that. There was some issues with, and I think when you are a property owner, you've got to have the view like, I want the places that I own to be upkept enough that I would want to live in there. Fire service comes in, replaces smoke alarm, freaking leaves 2 holes and put it in a different spot in the ceiling.
Right.
And then left. And then I went in, had a look because I had to drop in or something one day and I saw it. Like, what the bloody hell? No. You're getting the fire people back out. Get them to send photos when any tradie does work. And the real estate had to send someone out to fix it because it's like this is basic stuff. And then there was some other issues and the straw that broke the camel's back. And there was seriously so many other little things where I've just lost confidence. The straw that broke the camel's back the other day, I got an email. Hey, Glenn, I'll read it to you, John. This will be good. And noticing I'm putting this at the very end of the podcast, everyone, because if you've just dropped in and you're new, not good content.
It's irregular content.
It's just for my people who are regulars, all right? So just go easy. I'll just bring this up now because I just literally gobsmacked. And then when I talked to them, their response, I was also gobsmacked. Is that what they call it?
Sounds like it's death by 1,000 cuts.
Oh, it really was. Gosh.
So how long did you give them from go to woe?
I think 18 months.
Yeah, which is long enough.
Yeah.
It's like a bad relationship,
You know, but you want to have grace and give it time.
Yeah, you give it probably 6 months longer than you need to.
Yeah.
Because you're a nice guy and...
Well, I just don't like disruption and change.
Well,
and I know that you bought this rent roll. It is a bit sloppy. I'll let the dust settle. But the dust wasn't settling.
No.
And I'm like, so this is the level of attention to detail.
Yeah.
Where this was the straw that broke the camel's back on Monday, the 3rd of March. Hi, Glenn. Hope this email finds you well. And I didn't.
It didn't find you well.
No, it didn't find me well at all.
That's not their fault, though.
No, it's just me. I'm just not well. The tenants of your properties are due for a lease renewal. Please advise if you would like me to offer them a new 12-month lease. They have both had rent increases, so there would be no inclusion of a rent increase in the lease. Please advise if you're happy to offer them a new lease. And I'm like, Hi, can you let me know when the last increase was for property A?
Yep.
Because in my mind,
it was longer than 12 months.
A very long time. Also, didn't the tenant at property 2 literally sign a 2-year lease at the start of the year that you organised? Hi, Glenn. Yes, property 2 is on a 24-month lease.
Wow.
Sorry, not sure why that popped up. Okay, great.
Check.
Property 1, the last increase was on the 4th or April 2024, so a year ago. They are due for a rent increase. I've attached rental estimate for your inclusion. Hang on, half an hour ago, you said they both had rental increases. Now you're sending me a rent evaluation. Get it to freaking together. And I don't know if it's the business or an incompetent person with no attention to detail.
I think
I'm done. I'm out of there.
Yeah, that's not – sometimes it's their fault in the front end, but sometimes it's not. Regardless, not your issue.
But this was just like – and I've told like literally I'm like, if this happens, like guys, I can't keep going through this stuff.
No.
Like I'm paying. So anyway, I then sent an email which bounced because they changed their domain and didn't let everyone know. So that was good. Basically got a different property manager. And then this lady called me, so, can we, why? And I'm like, literally the email that you sent last week, you said we're all good here. Do you want to renew? Factually incorrect about one of the properties. Yeah. Number 2, you said it didn't need an increase. Then when I questioned it, then you've told me, yes, it does. And I've done a rent review. And she said, yeah, sorry about that. But we did provide that rent valuation. You've missed the point, Debbie, or whatever your name is. You've missed the point. Yeah. You guys aren't on top of my shat. No. I'm breaking up with you.
Yeah, look, fair enough. Fair grounds, I would say.
So imagine, and this is where I really get annoyed, if they are dropping the ball with me, what if one of my tenants have asked them if there's an issue?
Yeah.
And one of the tenants was like, they won't friggin' fix it. It's been, a year since we reported it. Like, it then makes me as the property owner look bad.
That's right.
And I want to look after my tenants because I rent as well. And believe it or not, people who rent, they're just people like the next person.
Yeah.
And if you look after good people should look after you.
Yeah. And they're paying you're paying good money for that service, like 7-8%, whatever it might be. So that aside, you've got to have a level of expectation as to what you're getting with a service, any service generally. So
and I think as well as just a human to human level, and I said to this woman, I said, look, it just looks like to me you property managers got too many properties.
Yeah.
Because on a human to human level, with all the issues that we've had over the last 12 months, with all this toing and froing, Debbie should know that Glen James is that guy who has these 2 properties.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's one of the questions that we get our clients to ask is how many properties do you manage and how many property managers have you got managing them?
Yeah. So I basically I used this time, I pressed reset and moved all the properties to one agency.
Right.
So I got a good deal and, I'm happy.
Watch this space.
Yeah. So But yeah, and that's it. Like, I hate disruption in my life. I hate change. I hate paperwork. I hate all that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm happy to give grace for a few months.
Yeah.
For a year, like over 12 months, maybe 18 months.
Yeah.
And I said, like, you've just lost thousands of dollars worth of work. I said to her, I'm like, if the practice owner wants to call me, I'm happy to give feedback.
Yeah.
As a fellow business owner,
Yeah.
I'm happy to do that. Rach Kroon from Sphere Home Loans, who, she's on the podcast and all that, I think she's had to move properties from them.
Right.
Emailed the practice, they didn't care. And it's like, okay, if you don't care about people, that's your number one job. If you have a business and you look after individual people, your number one job is to actually care and make sure they have a good experience. This is different if you own a software as a service solution, it's all in the back end and all that. But if you're consumer facing and you're charging a fee for service, and this is easy money, my properties are easy money. Locked out someone in for a 2-year lease.
Yeah.
It's easy.
Yeah. And generally it is easy money if they pay their rents on time and
got good tenants.
There's no issues.
But yeah, if you are running that business, it just you lose thousands and thousands of dollars when you don't look after people, you don't prioritize, you're not consciously aware of your customers.
Well, I think it's maybe not even that, is it? Sometimes it's just they're doing their job, but the job hasn't been properly systemized, or they're just not appreciating the 1%ers.
And it could be interesting. Like, I think when I had my financial advice business, I would have had more clients than an agent would have in their rent roll. Like a property manager, what do they say, like 80 properties or something?
Per property manager? Maybe. I've seen them much higher than that, but yeah, let's go with 100.
Like, I may have had 200 or 300 clients or whatever.
Yeah.
I intimately knew all their details and remembered.
Yeah.
Like, I see someone, like, haven't seen them for 4, 5, 6 years, set up an income protection policy for them 10 years ago. How's that knee going? Still giving me trouble. Yeah. Again, weird that I remember intimate, quirky details about everyone. And I'm good with faces and names. Like, we'll go to an event. Yeah. I met someone inboxed me in Instagram. Oh, yeah. And because I was doing this studio stuff, and they're like, oh, hey, I work in TV, and if you want a hand with your lighting and all that in the studio. I'm like, have I met you at an event? He's like, yeah, I was at the property event last year. I said, oh, and your wife is the producer? Yeah. He's like, yeah. Like, I don't know. Yeah. I'm a freak with that stuff.
That's good. So. Yeah, it's a good quality. And I think the best property managers I can recall and still have, one of them today is they're normally ladies, I find. They're ladies that are middle-aged, that really care. They have good memories, and they just go to the nth detail with everything that they do. Unfortunately, a lot of people that come through the system are young and are maybe not taught the right way to
but imagine a new entrant into an industry who's a really good quality person going in and learning from someone like my property man. Like, imagine this company that I used on the coast. Imagine a really good young person wants to be in property, wants to be in rent roll, wants to be property management, coming in and learning all this crap.
From this one.
You would hope that they would be smart enough to go, all you people are crazy and don't have a memory and your systems suck.
Yeah.
But what if they're getting trained bad habits?
Well, yeah, and the best way to understand someone's knowledge is to get them to teach it to someone. But interesting. Anyway.
So that is the breakup story. Sorry, it was a bit of clickbait, but we're here now, and looking forward to doing some more episodes. We'll leave it there. Thanks for listening. Really appreciate it. We know you've got a choice, and thank you for choosing us. My name is Glenneth Jameseth, and this guy is
John Pigeon.
Earth.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to today's podcast. If you want to support us, there is one way you can do that. You can send the episode to a friend, a family member, or your group chat if you think those people would find it valuable. We also thank you for leaving a review on Apple or Spotify. If you've listened to this podcast for some time, or if you've read any of my books, you would know that giving and generosity in a financial sense is a big thing in my life. If you think it's time that you are ready to give financially to a good cause, you could head to our website, moneypodcast.com.au/charities to see the charities that we support.
Any advice is general financial advice only, which does not take into account your objectives, financial situation, or needs. Because of that, you should consider if the advice is appropriate to you and your needs before acting on the information. If you do choose to buy a financial product, read the Product Disclosure Statement, PDS, and Target Market Determination, TMD, and obtain appropriate financial advice tailored to your needs. Simo Interactive Pty Ltd, the publisher of this podcast, and Glen James are authorised representatives of Money Sherpa Pty Ltd, which holds Financial Services Licence 451289. Opinions or comments from any guests on the podcast are theirs and not those of the host or the publisher or their respective licence holders.